Hello and welcome back. Dare I say it that maybe we've kicked winter into touch? I hope so. The clocks have changed and the days are getting longer, which is great, and we've had 2 days of blazing sunshine, which has been absolutely brilliant. It's the beginning of April, and yesterday actually myself and my wife took our 2 dogs out for obviously a dog walk here in my local woods, but also we were on the search for some wild garlic to see whether it had come out, and gosh, had it ever. It's fantastic. And just before we get on to that about the dogs, a few of you were asking about the puppy and how she's getting on. Well, Pudding is getting on brilliantly. Our older dog Gem took a little while, maybe almost 2 weeks actually, to stop ignoring her, and now they're getting on so well that it's just reaching slightly annoying because they're just playing all the time and growling and happy growls with each other, fighting all the time. It's really nice to see, and Pudding's she's getting bigger and bigger by the day. She's really agile, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing her on some of my excursions, and hopefully for an overnighter sometime. But she's just a little bit naughty at the moment, so I don't want to risk having to try to film maybe and keep an eye on her. But yeah, we were looking out for some wild garlic, and gosh, was there ever some. Certain parts of the wood was just carpeted with them, and we took some, which was great. And just a couple of things about harvesting and foraging and so on. With wild garlic, it's really important to take a thin blade, sharp knife with you and to cut the garlic as opposed to pulling it up. The reasons for that are really twofold. The first thing is, if you're pulling them up, then a certain percentage of the garlic you'll uproot and it'll obviously not have a chance to rejuvenate. The other thing is, if you don't make a clean cut like you would with a knife, then you leave a bit more surface area on the sort of base of the stalk, which will allow itself to be open to rotting. So yeah, just take a nice thin sharp knife and just pick randomly from the patches of garlic around, so that you don't make such an impact, and obviously take just as much as you need. The other thing is to beware of imposters amongst the wild garlic, and the most common one is, I don't know the Latin name, it's called lords and ladies, and that is, I don't know whether you'd say highly poisonous, but it isn't very nice. It looks very similar, it's just got a sort of slightly crinklier leaf than the wild garlic. So when you get back to wash the leaves that you've picked, maybe just have a second look just to check you haven't picked up any little bits that you wouldn't want there. But last night I used a couple of YouTube videos to make some really nice looking pesto and salsa verde, which I'm looking forward to trying. But that's enough about yesterday. Let's move on to today, back in the woods. I brought some of those ingredients with me. I brought loads of lovely local ingredients for a little bit of a cook-up. I'll show you what I've got. So what we've got here, we've got my little fire lighting kit here, made by Ed from Woodland Crafts. Got a titanium plate. I've got the fire steel that I made. If you look at the top right hand corner, there's a link to how I made this. Really nice knife with me today. I've just recently sharpened it, and it is absolutely razor sharp. It's made by a company called Bushcraft, and I really love it. Nice 90 on the spine to get a spark, and just like the feel of it all together. And as I said, I've just sharpened it recently, and it's it'll do the job. Show you a little bit more about this later. I've used it before. It's my Ridge Monkey sandwich toaster, which you can use on an open fire. I've got my gloves. In here is my Eagle kettle, which you saw in the last video. I've got an Nalgene bottle, litre of water there, cooking ingredients I'll come to, and my lovely Nomad's Kitchen little cook kit. Well, it's not a cook kit, but spice kit really, and I put a few extra bits in it. I've got some milk there, but it's been through this before. Most importantly, it's got all my herbs and spices in there as well, so I'll be using some bits out of that. But what I'm going to use to cook on today is my little salad spinner, salad drainer. You keep a really nice contained fire with this, and I've made some grooves, some little larger holes in the bottom here. You can see here, here and here, and my plan, and I haven't tried this yet, is so that when it's on the ground I can put these old tent pegs in and they can be a pot support rather than smothering the fire with putting a pan directly on it. So I'm hoping that these will work well. So I've got 3 of those like that. I'll just do a quick rehearsal first, check I haven't got any big stones underneath here. I think that's going to work fine. Let's see what goodies we've got in here today. This is usually does the trick. It's sort of impregnated little firelighter strip. See how we do with that. The idea is just to fluff that up a bit. Should take a spark. There we are. Well, that's working a treat. I'm really pleased. I do like sort of making and modifying things that I've already got to make them a little bit more user friendly, and that trick with the tent pegs is working just brilliantly. Gives that little raised portion of the platform with the kettle on it so that I can feed the fuel in underneath without having to sort of lift up the kettle, put more fuel on and then replace it. While that's on, I'm going to just tell you about the ingredients that I bought today. We're really lucky. I live in this little village. It's on the edge of the Yorkshire Dales, and it's brilliant. It's got its own steam train which just does these little trips in the holidays and weekends just down to Bolton Abbey, which is a village a few miles away, and they do those shuttles and they do specials at Christmas and so on. And also on our doorstep is the market town of Skipton, which I feel so fortunate to have so close. It's a very small town. It's got the Leeds and Liverpool Canal running through it. It's got a castle, so there's this little area where there's a spur of a moat of the castle, and they do boat trips around, so you can sort of watch up at the castle, look up from the walls, and I've done those a couple of times. And yeah, you can rent canal boats and so on, but in the basin of the canal where this little spur off to the castle that I was talking about goes, they often have these sort of artesian farmers markets, and I went there yesterday and it was just brilliant. All sorts you can get, and made by local producers using sort of local ingredients and so on. And if I'm going to sort of spend my money on ingredients and so on, I'd much prefer go somewhere like that. And I managed to pick up some excellent tea, which I'm going to use very shortly. Also, there's what's called a micro bakery, and he gave me a really nice loaf of sourdough, so I've got those two to be getting on with. Added a few more bits and I'll tell you what I've got. So the ingredients today are, got some of the wild garlic that we picked yesterday, some butter, come back to those, got my knife, 2 slices of that really nice sourdough that I just showed you from that bakery. Shortly going to have some Assam tea from that stall at the market. In there I've got some chopped up pancetta, again from the market, and finally from the market some slices of, this is Gouda cheese, and this is the slightly unusual thing that I've just mixed up, and this is some pickled sweet mushrooms, and the ingredients I've used here are chestnut mushrooms, chopped up little bit of a red onion, some white wine vinegar and some caster sugar, and I've just mixed that all together, dissolved the caster sugar and popped in the mushrooms, and there you go. Very unusual. I'm not sure whether I like it, but we'll give it a go. And there you go, even Gordon Ramsay would be proud. Funny how my tea drinking's gone actually. I've gone full circle, because a year ago, in fact when I'm at work and someone asks me if I want a cup of tea, I used to say, oh yes please, baby tea. I used to call it that because I just have it almost this beige colour. Tons and tons of milk and very weak. And in the last year, for some reason, I've wanted my tea stronger and stronger, and so I said to the lady, oh, just, you know, like a really good hearty English breakfast tea. So yeah, she gave me this Assam stuff and said use it sparingly, and I thought I'll just use it normal, and it's like you see it there, I don't want to tip it out, but it's like tar. It's staining the side of the cup, but it's really delicious. So I'm going to I've made that fire up now. That little tripod with the tent pegs worked brilliantly, so I'm going to use that for the next stage. I don't know if I said actually what I'm going to make. I showed you the ingredients, but it's a simple toastie. This is the Rich Monkey device that I just told you about. I think I've featured it before on my channel. I haven't used it much, but yeah, it's a sort of sandwich toaster that comes apart, and you can actually use it as a frying pan or two frying pans. Inside you've got two handles, which when you're using a sandwich toaster, they have got magnets, there they are, and they clip together, so you can have it as one unit. But I'll demonstrate there, and in the back here you've got a couple of spoons and two spatulas as well, so I really like it. So I'm just going to use half of it now to get some of this pancetta on the go. The pancetta. I don't really know the difference between pancetta and chopped bacon, but the recipe said pancetta, so that's what I got. Right, well these are done. I'm going to just put them on my chopping board here. I'm not in the slightest bit worried that they'll go cold, because it's going to be all reheated in my toastie. So this is where we get into serious experimental mode now. I'm going to butter what will be the outside of the bread so that it gets nice and brown in the toastie. I'll probably put some butter on the inside as well. And this lovely Gouda cheese. Some wild garlic.
just put that aside for a second whilst I just not sure about these, but hey, let's be different. So very thinly sliced, they say, these pickled mushrooms. Yet to be convinced. But let's give it a go. Keep building. Get that all on. And on goes the other half. And we're just going to lock that in. The ridge monkey. I have no idea why it's called that, but squeeze that together. On it goes. It's not strong enough, the magnet. Let's have a go at this to hold what is a monster sandwich in. So let's see if my tea bag will hold it together. Yay! This has had about 5 minutes aside, so let's take a look. That doesn't look too bad to me. Wow. The cheese is nicely oozing out. Get it on the plate. Well, get it on the board. Should we have a look inside? Oh wow. Yeah, look at that. Those bits back in. With a bit of ash from the fire as well. Look at that. There we go. That is really something else. I'm getting the pickled mushrooms. A fantastic flavour. I'm probably like you. I really thought, hey, pickled mushrooms of all things. But it just gives it, you've got the sweetness of the bacon, quite a sweet cheese, bread's pretty sweet, and it just gives it that little sort of tart hint to it. And it's delicious. You can just see the mushroom in there. Oh. How simple is that? Wild garlic, chopped up pancetta, bacon lardons fine, Gouda cheese, sourdough, and I don't know if I have to say wild garlic, the most important ingredient. Oh. I've got the kettle on again for another cup of that lovely tea. I'm going to get on with this and make this. It's perfect. Well, I'll never say things are perfect, but it really doesn't get much better than this. I'm really enjoying this. Just delicious. I've just built up the fire a little bit too. It's quite cold, but it's nice just having that little glow of the little contained fire next to me, just to take the little chill out of the air. So I built that up a bit. I'm going to enjoy another nice cup of that Assam tea and finish off my sandwich. But this really is delicious, and yeah, food of the gods, I think. Well, that was a nice little outing. Sometimes I really like just keeping it simple. I made a video about that some months ago, and it was quite well received, that you don't actually have to go out and do something really complicated, and it's sometimes nice just to go out, cup of tea and a sandwich, which is really what I did today. Yes, there was a little bit of preparation involved, but it was all pretty simple. Made that fire. You can get those little salad drainers from supermarkets. I think I got that from Morrison's, about £3 or £4, and it works a treat. I'm just getting a nice lot of heat off it now after just enjoying that sandwich. So good, nice little simple video, as I said, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. I know I sound like a scratch record, but I really want to get a nice decent subscriber base for the YouTube channel. I think it gives me the enthusiasm to keep going and thinking of new things. I will, don't worry, but you know what it is. So yeah, like, subscribe if you can, and I look forward to making another video and taking you along with me. I forgot the thumbs up, sorry.